Hi, this is Chris, and I'm going to show you how to build this platform storage bed from IKEA kitchen cabinets and a little bit of framing lumber. I started by obtaining the measurements of a standard full-size mattress, which is 54 inches wide and 75 inches long. I used 3 of the widest cabinets that IKEA makes, which are 24 inches wide by 30 inches high by 15 inches deep, along the side of the bed, and 4 cabinets at the foot of the bed in varying heights to create steps. Next, I assembled all 7 cabinets. Since they are wall cabinets, I discarded any of the hardware that would normally attach them to the wall. I didn't install the back on one of the big cabinets, so it could be used to access the storage underneath. Then I laid the cabinets out on the floor and using wood clamps screwed them together with 2 screws along the front and 1 screw near the back. I used 1x4 pine boards for most of the framing. I started by marking the height of the frame on the wall and used a stud finder to mark the studs. Then I drilled 2 pilot holes in the board at every stud and got help holding it in place as I screwed it to the wall with 2.5-inch screws. I installed another framing board on the back of the cabinets. And used a piece of the unused back to fill the space next to the steps. A little glue on the back will keep it in place where I don't want a visible screw. A small angle iron ensures the corner stays together at the bottom. The 2 short framing boards support the center rail, which is a larger 2x4 because it supports most of the weight. I didn't want to use a 1x4 there. Next, I used 1x4 pine to cut 12 slats the width of the frame. The first one is used as a pattern to mark the rest. Then I laid them out to check the coverage. To calculate the spacing, I have 12 boards that are 3.5 inches wide. That means the width of all the boards adds up to 42 inches. So I subtract 42 inches from 75 inches, which is the length of the mattress, and that leaves 33 inches of space between the boards. I divide 33 by 11, which is the number of spaces between 12 boards, and the space between each board needs to be 3 inches. So I made a couple of 3-inch spacer blocks to help me evenly space them. I drilled 3 pilot holes in each board and attached them to the framing at each end and the middle. Time to get the mattress and give it a test. I then installed the last door on the access cabinet. Remember, this is the one with no back and no shelves, so we can access the crawl space underneath the bed for storage. I dressed up the top of the cabinets using inexpensive paneling. Just cut it to size and hold it in place with double-faced carpet tape. Next, I cut a rubber-backed rug to fit the steps, which would be very slippery without it. I made a simple jig to ensure the knob holes were drilled in the same place. Time to install the shelves. I installed a small light under the bed so we can see in the storage area, and a hidden power strip for the lamps and cell phone charger. Finally, a short piece of foam pipe insulation will prevent sore backs when you're climbing into the crawl space. There you have it. This platform bed is a contemporary design that adds a lot of functional storage space, not only in the cabinets, but it also has more than 70 cubic feet of crawl space underneath the bed. Thanks for watching.
Just in the process of doing a van conversion for my van. It's a Hyundai iLoad. And based on the space and trying to make an efficient space inside the van, I did some research and found that rock and roller beds are really good for that. However, there's a few problems I stumbled upon when trying to make this a reality for the van, in that A, rock and roller beds, a lot of them are made out of metal frames and things like that, and I didn't really have the money to buy metal frames, nor have the equipment, specialised equipment to make the metal frame for the rock and roller bed. And then secondly, there aren't many guides or videos on YouTube or anywhere else on the internet that actually has a guide for building your own rock and roller bed, even out of wood. Luckily I did find one web page, which I'll put in the link in the description of this video, and we're basically basing the rock and roller bed from this guide that I found, and I just thought it'd be a good idea to actually make a video of it and put it online for other people who might find it useful for them. So the first step is a friend and myself. We created 4 identical wooden frames for the bed. The way this works is there's 4, obviously, as you can see, there's 4 separate compartments that make up the main bed, and two of them, so the 2 middle ones, they will actually, once we get the hinges in, they're going to basically sit like that, so it will create like a couch when you put it in the upright position inside of your van, and then obviously you can extend it out into a bed. Another important thing just to mention is that I'm pretty much a complete novice to woodwork and bed building and cabinet making and all of that, so I'm coming at it at a very basic level of skill, and I'm learning as I'm going. Well, yeah, in terms of the actual measurements of this frame, each of these wooden compartments, they're actually 470 millimeters long, so 470 mil length, and then the width is 1300 millimeters. We're kind of aiming to make the bed kind of like a double bed in terms of size. So the measurements for the actual timber itself, this is just timber I got from the local hardware store, which in Australia is Bunnings. It's 90 by 35 basically, and the length is the standard 2.4 meters you buy in Bunnings. We actually used pocket hole screws to actually connect the frame together. So there's actually a specialised thing called a pocket hole jig, which you can buy from most hardware stores or online, and that is like a little kit that helps you basically drill the right depth and the right angle in the wood, in the timber. Oh, one more thing is we've also put some supports into the frame too, just to make the frame a lot stronger, and it did help a lot putting these supports in. So we just put 2 supports in each frame. The next step is we're going to connect the hinges just to allow the bed to work how we want it to work. We've just put the hinges in place. It didn't take very long at all. On the Instructables post that we're basing this off, the bloke had the hinges on the sides of the frame. However, we ran into a problem with that because when we put the hinges on the edge, this part of the hinge overlapped out past the frame, and that wasn't good for us because we'd need to get this frame right up against the wall of the van, so we couldn't do that. So we decided to put the hinges in the middle two columns basically of the frame. So this is how it looks when it's flat, and then this is how it looks when it's up, so you can kind of see how the bed's going to work. And these hinges, I think they're called gate hinges in America, but in Australia they're called T hinges, and I think the weight of these are 200 kilograms, so they're pretty strong, and they actually fit perfectly to the actual to the frame in terms of all the screw holes and stuff. So the next thing we need to do is basically attach some hinges on the side of this, on both in the middle, just to help move the bed, like to extend the bed. So that's the next step. The Instructables post mentioned cupboard door hinges. However, I thought about it and I looked at it and I thought that either it means something else in America, because I think the bloke was American, so they've got different words for different things. This probably wouldn't be too good. So I ended up buying some butt hinges from Bunnings, and what I did was I ended up buying a 100mm size butt hinge, and it was too big, as you can see. So we had too much of an overlap, so we couldn't actually get the screws into these far pockets. So what we ended up doing was improvising, and we just drilled 4 holes on just a bit closer in. So we did that, and we just then attached the screws on both. And also a good thing is, because this is the underside, having this like stick out won't actually do anything. It won't affect the bed. You won't see it. You won't like get your back caught or something caught on the corners. So it actually works out all right. Okay, so we flip the bed back around. This is the actual normal side it's going to actually be inside the van. And so this is how it works. All of these 4 frames are now together by the hinges. And what the bed's going to do is, so yes, this is the bed extended, and when we want to turn it into a couch, what you just do is we do that. Simple as that, and it turns into a couch. And then when we want to extend it back into a bed, we literally just pull it down, and it's a bed. The next phase of the build for the rock and roller bed is done. We've attached some wooden legs. Now we've attached 8 in total onto the frame itself, and we've attached them using just standard metal L brackets you can buy in any hardware store, and we've attached a metal bracket on each side just to make it as secure as possible. These legs, they're all obviously the exact same length, and so these, for example, are 190mm long, and I got them cut in Bunnings just because they've got like table saws and miter saws there, and they can do cuts for you. And I don't actually have a miter saw, and a miter saw I think is needed from looking online for doing perfectly straight cuts. And because this is going to rest on the floor, if the cut of any leg is not perfectly straight, it might make the bed just feel a bit wonky, and when you put your weight on it, it might like move around a bit. So I just had to make sure that these legs were perfectly cut level and straight. And then also we've attached just a tie down just on the back side, and this is just going to help when the bed's in place. You can just basically pull this from the other side, and it'll help with turning it into a couch. We'll probably end up screwing just that down there so it doesn't move anywhere. What we've ended up doing is basically creating storage in the front part of the bed, and the way we've done that is we've just basically framed out the front section. So as you can see, we've basically blocked it off into 3 separate compartments. So we've installed the rock and roll bed inside the van. What we've done is we've used some quite wide metal L brackets, and we basically just attach them through to the floor of the van, both on these two sides, just to make them super strong. And then on this one, because we had no room to do two, we just did one on this side. So we did the exact same on the opposing side here, and these are absolutely solid. They are just not moving at all. So this is all fixed into place. And then what we did was we basically just put these legs into the floor, screw them into the floor, and we secured them the same way that I just showed you that we did with the back legs. And these aren't attached to the actual bed frame, so when it lifts up, as you can see, what we've just done is we've just put some felt like stoppers on the top there, just to cushion the frame when we push the frame back down onto them. And that just provides extra support here for this middle section that doesn't have any supports, just for the weight of the person. On the end here, we've attached it's called a flush hinge. We've attached one on each side, and that is just for this storage compartment. As you can see there, it just lifts up. So the next step now is we're going to screw the 3 remaining ply boards down onto the frame, and then the actual bed frame is finished. Okay guys, so all the plywood sheets have now been attached to the bed, as you can see. So the bed is actually done now, apart from the foam that I need to custom order, and the fabric that will go on top of the foam. But yeah, I'll just give you a quick demonstration of how it works. So obviously the bed, this is in the downward position, the sleeping position. When it's in the sleeping position, these hinges allow for this actual compartment to open up, and it's been separated into 3 different compartments there for storage, and that just folds down like so. And then the way to actually turn the bed into a couch is we've got this tie down strap, and you pull with one hand, and with the other hand you push up like that. So this is in its upright position, this is a couch, and as you can see, it's very solid. You're not going anywhere there. Yeah, you can fit 4 people, you fit 2 people here, 2 people even on the back. So yeah, you can have 2 people on the back there too, and that would be nice, like looking out over somewhere. But yeah, this is how it works. And I'll just quickly show you when I pull it back down actually. So I'm just going to pull it back out. There we go. And then we've got the bed again. So that's the rock and roll bed that we've done. It's pretty simple, but I think it's quite effective, and it does the job, and extra storage.